Welcome back, everyone. I'm Nick, your host of the Hero's Journey podcast. It's a great little podcast. We read about comics. We're into the golden age these days. We're reading comics from September 1943. Let me pull up the comics here and we can see what I've been up to the last little while. Okay, so first up, we have All Select Comics number 1 from Timely. This was from the fall of 1943. This is a new series that I've started. Good, issue number 1. It's a pretty popular cover. Another busy, lots of action-packed Alex Schomburg cover. Love it, love it. We got 3 big guys on the cover here. You got Captain America, Human Torch, and Namor the Submariner fighting off some Nazis in some kind of cool castle. So in the Captain America, you have a Captain America story where he takes on Vulture, who is kidnapping people to grow his army of Batman. Clearly not the same Vulture from Silver Age Spider-Man, not same guy. And Human Torch has to stop the Claw from poisoning the food and water supply, and also from blowing up a dam. So he was busy in his story. Black Widow is clearly not the same Black Widow from Silver Age in the MCU, but Black Widow, she brings back the soul of a crooked medium to Satan. So Satan sends her out. Basically, in her deal is that Satan sends her out on missions to retrieve souls for him, and she's always bringing back souls of bad people. So she goes along with it because she's, kind of an anti-hero sort of thing, but she's happy. She doesn't like doing Satan's bidding, but she's happy to do it if they're bad people. So this was the only appearance of Black Widow in the series. She didn't have too many appearances in the Golden Age. This character, I don't think she was someone had too many appearances and did too much. Didn't do very much with her. All right, moving on. Submariner. He encounters some trouble when he escorts the British Crown jewels to the U.S. So he was escorting them on a ship, which gets attacked and all this fun stuff. But that's what Submariner wanted to do. He wanted to make sure the British Crown jewels got to the U.S. Some weirdo motivation for this guy to be involved with the Navy and the war and the whole bit, but I don't know. Namor doesn't impress me too much. I'm going to say he's one of the characters who gets his own book in the Golden Age, and he's featured in a lot of stories, but I don't see it. I don't get the attraction. I don't know why he was so popular, but here he is. The most recent CGC sale that I could find was a 0.5 from August 2019 for $2,000. So again, you can see the Alex Schomburg magic. You got you have 3 major heroes right on the cover. So they each have a story inside. So there's some good guts to the book. Great cover. To be honest, before I started reading Golden Age comics, I had no idea about All Select Comics, but this is great. This is the whole point of the project, is for me to be introduced to all these characters and all their fun appearances. There was also a CGC 5.0 that sold from June 2019 for $9,200. So that's a huge jump. But I mean, even $2,000 for a 0.5, like your entry level grade, the lowest grade is 2,000. That's over a year ago. Can't even imagine what it would go for now. The craziness. So moving on, we have All-Star Comics number 18. It's from DC. This is the fall of 1943. So this All-Star Comics, I don't know if you're aware, comprises of the Justice Society of America, which is Hawkman, Sandman, Dr. Midnight, Starman, the Atom, Dr. Fate, the Spectre, Johnny Thunder, and Wonder Woman. Now, Justice Society of America, in this issue, they battle against various sorts of insect men created by King Bee. And now this is the origin and first appearance of King Bee in this issue. You have a recent CGC 3.5 sale from October of a certain year. All right, well, let's just say that it was October 2020 for $435. So that was your sale. I'll assume it was this year. I think it was pretty recent. Now, what's interesting about All Star Comics is you have each issue so far has been divided into a story for each character. So basically, you'll have essentially one major villain or villainous force, really, and then the Justice Society of America kind of working as a team, but they all have their own assignments and they take off, maybe around the world, around the country, different parts, and they'll each do their own part. So then you'll have a Sandman story, you'll have a Hawkman story, you have a Starman story, and so on. They'll each have their own story, sort of as a chapter in the book. What is kind of, I would guess, par for the course during that time, a little disappointing, is that Wonder Woman, while she's part of the Justice Society of America, she's only the secretary, and she's only really has a cameo appearance, so she doesn't really help the story along very much. She's there at the beginning of the story, sometimes at the end. And so it's a little disappointing in that case that she doesn't have a big role. Hopefully she has a bigger role moving forward. Now, All Star Comics number 3, where her first appearance does actually feature a full story of Wonder Woman and her origin. So that is full featured story. But when she joins the actual Justice Society of America, they made her a secretary, and she just sort of, I don't know, does the administrative work while all the boys go out and fight the bad guys. All right, I'm hoping this catches up to something more reasonable, considering she's such a great character, and she has her own uh, title this time. Sensation Comics. She's the feature in that one, so who knows? Maybe she'll do more for Just Side America. But that's the whole point of this project, is to see how these issues and characters and stories evolve. All right, moving on. We have All Winners Comics number 10 next. This is from Timeless, fall of 1943. Oh, pardon me. I'm going to sneeze, I think. I'm going to sneeze? Yep. Yeah, pardon me. Hey, that's just a bonus little fun feature in the podcast there. So you have another Alex Schomburg cover. You have another cover with Human Torch, Captain America, and Namor on the cover, Submariner. But you also have, as a bonus, Toro and Bucky. Lots of action, lots going on. Very exciting. So in this story, in this issue, Human Torch goes up against a character called the Vulture. It's not the same Vulture as All Select Comics number 1. I guess they just liked using characters called the Vulture in these days. Anyway, he uses birds that drop incendiary eggs to blow up munitions plants and war factories. And then Captain America uncovers a Japanese prison camp in the Pacific. So that was fun. Submariner acts as a double agent to take down some Nazis, and then he had to rescue Betty Dean, of course. Whizzer, he's kind of a fun character, a little speedster. I love it. Whizzer, he has to race against time to stop triple destruction from destroying 3 American war plants. This triple destruction's only appearance, which it's unfortunate. There's a lot of characters that are one-offs in these comics that might be interesting villains, and they would be nice to have seen them come back and have sort of back and forth. So the most recent CGC sale I could find for this one was a 3.0 from June 2019 for $1,000. So another Alex Schomburg cover, not as sought after as the All Winners. This is All Winners. Not as sought after as the All Select Comics issue that we featured, number 1. Maybe because All Select was a number 1. This one has the same characters. I don't know. Now we move on to Blue Beetle 25. This is an issue from Hollyoak, September 1943. You got Blue Beetle on the cover here, dressed up as a riveter, it looks like, and just really another issue, another cover, I guess, that's promoting the war effort. So two Blue Beetle stories in this issue. In one of them, Blue Beetle poses as a Nazi to rescue an American soldier from the Japanese. And in the second story, Blue Beetle goes back home to his hometown to help solve a murder. Dun dun dun. So this issue, the most recent sale I could find was a CGC 6.5 from September 2019, and that was going for $225. So next up, we have Captain America number 30. That's a timely issue from September 1943. This is another Alex Schomburg cover. I'm telling you, this guy was busy during this era, doing a lot of the timely covers. All great covers, though, to be fair. A lot of, like I said, these are busy covers. This guy, I don't think this one is one of his better covers, but really interesting cover. Really like it nonetheless. I prefer the all winners and all select covers that we were looking at so far tonight. And you got Bucky tied up on the cover there, Captain America swinging and banging away. So Captain America, in one of his stories here, investigates a series of murders at a sanatorium. Bum, bum, bum. Then the Human Torch tracks down Nazis that are provided tainted meat to the food supply. So the Nazis always come up with some crazy ways to stop the war effort, to hinder Americans, but the good guys are always there to foil their plans. And then Captain America uncovers the reason island natives are letting the Japanese army use their island as a base. And he puts a stop to it. And Captain America must stop a Nazi plot to blow up an American army camp. Spoiler, he does stop the plot. So you have most recent CGC sale for this book was a 6.5 from August 2020 for $21.17. Now, I don't think this was, again, as popular as maybe the All Winners comics for the Alex Schomburg cover. I think that I keep saying All Winners. All Select comics. Apologies. There's so many All Winners, All American, All Stars. It's all something. Next up, we have Captain Marvel Jr. number 11. This is a Fawcett issue from September 1943. You've got 4 Captain Marvel Jr. stories in this. And sorry, just before I move on from the cover, it's a very dark cover. I would imagine it's really hard to get in high grade. The colors don't really pop on this one except for the title. I like how the title does pop, but the rest is just a little too dark. Really wish they did something a little more to make this cover stand out. I think it had a lot of potential. Captain Marvel Jr., in his first story, rescues a pair of trolls from being forced to perform in a circus freak show. So these are trolls that we've seen in previous issue in the Fawcett universe. Captain Marvel Jr. in his second story is up against an evil scientist who uses forceps that go through the 4th dimension. So that's pretty crazy. You can just grab people through like walls and stuff because they're calling it going through the 4th dimension. In the third story, Captain Marvel Jr. must figure out the source of the hypnotic music. And in the fourth story, Captain Marvel Jr. is up against Captain Nazi as he tries to destroy farms supplying food for the war effort. So Captain Nazi is a recurring villain in Captain Marvel stories. Also, he went up against Captain Marvel Senior, I guess, in a lot of the stories of that time. Most recent CGC sale I could find was from July 2019 for $204. I don't know why I said doleros, sorry. Then we have one of these big issues, about 96 pages that we decided, Comic Cavalcade number 4. It's a 15-cent comic from DC, fall 1943. These are thick. I expect these would be hard to get in high grade because I don't even know if you could press something like this. It'd be difficult. Anyway, in Wonder Woman's story, she's tasked to look after a Navy ship with a protective shield that she invented. And it's just basically some hydraulics that open up to create like some sort of metallic shield around the ship to prevent, or to, I guess, take the brunt of a hit if a torpedo strikes it. And then they can just replace the panels. Green Lantern has his work cut out for him when a crook follows a book on crime. Crazy. So the book depicts everything, all the crimes down to the letter, exactly what they can do, and bam, crimes are committed. Sargon the Sorcerer discovers a Nazi spy threatening to harm overseas relatives of immigrants if they do not carry out his sabotage plans. The Flash must keep Winky, Blinky, and Naughty out of trouble when Winky takes up wrestling. So the Flash, kind of a serious story. Flash doesn't have a sidekick or anything at this time, or really not a lot of other characters to bounce off of, but Winky, Blinky, and Nod seem to come in and give some good comedic relief to the stories. It makes it kind of fun. Those guys are just bumbling goofballs. And they're not criminals per se, but they just sort of do things their own way. And Flash must, because he has a soft spot for them, wants to keep them out of trouble. So he's always helping them out. Most recent CGC sale I could find for this was a 7.5 from October of 2020. So the month we're in right now. And this was for $836. Now, considering you're getting 96 pages of comic book in a 7.5, it's surprising. You got like these major characters, but it's only attracting $836. All right, next up we have Detective Comics number 79. It's from DC from September 1943. So I was reading 2 stories out of this book. We have Batman, and he must help 3 people find their rightful trunks and fulfill their destinies. So a psychic had forewarned these 3 individuals that different things would happen to them, and they do happen to them. And if you look at it in a certain way, the psychic was right, but then they each have a trunk that they lost possession of and they had to get back. And if things get mixed up, and it was a good time, and Batman tries to keep up and sort things out. Crimson Avenger is on the trail of the Adder when subtle ads setting up crimes are placed in his newspaper. So Lee Travis, who is the Crimson Avenger, is tipped off to these ads in his paper being placed and then crimes being committed right after. So he figures it out and shuts that down really quickly. So for this comic, most recent CGC sale I could find was from August 2020 for $550. It seems low for me, but I expect that that's because this issue doesn't feature any crazy characters other than Batman and Robin. I don't know if Crimson Avenger is much of a draw. Cover's not, I can't imagine it's a big draw for this particular cover. So it's probably one of those more of a filler type of issue, even though it's from the Golden Age. And then we move on to Flash Comics number 45. This is an issue from DC from September 1943. So in the Flash story, Flash puts a stop to Midget Joe's racket of posing as a baby so that he can crack safes. So his racket is to end up being looked after by some rich people and then crack their safes when they're not looking. So pose as a baby, just a little dude. But this is only the first of 2 appearances of Midget Joe, so he'll be back again in a later issue. Clearly not much of a recurring character. And then Johnny Thunder accidentally catches some Nazi spies along with the help of Peachy Pet. It's Peachy Pet kind of provides Johnny Thunder provides comedy relief, and Peachy Pet almost is as his adopted daughter is almost the serious side of this duo. Now I left out the Hawkman also features in this issue, as I mean clearly you can see him on the cover. In Hawkman's story, some thieves were breaking into a museum and stealing busts of statues that actually contained hidden messages about how to commit specific crimes based on, and the theme of these crimes was based on maybe the inventions of the famous people that they were stealing the busts from, so like Thomas Edison kind of thing. Um, and then the thieves, when they broke in and stole the bust, they would replace those busts with some of their own. So as you can see on the cover, you have a bust of Big Butch. So he was a criminal, and the thieves would break in, steal the actual bust, replace it with a criminal bust. They would get the secret code out of the bust. So I apologize that I did not include the description on my slide here. Shame on me. What can you do? So that is the show for this week. Those are the comics that I was reading. Some good stuff. So a lot of Schomburg covers, a lot of Captain America, Human Torch, and Namor stories. Some fairly big books in terms of dollars if you're trying to chase after those. Some books that I feel might be a bigger draw. Comic Cavalcade, I guess, it's not a key per se. There's not anything in there that was big draw. It just, I always find it interesting for, you're clearly not, when you're speculating or buying comic books at that age, you're not paying per page for sure, because 96 pages, serious book. To be fair, the other books are about 60, 64 pages, so they're still no slouch themselves. All right, thank you for tuning in. It's been great. I will have some other great comics for you next week, where we will continue reading through September of 1943. Thanks very much.